So here's what we've got that's come out of China. The Chinese doctors, I'm reading this, this has actually been going around on the internet as a, somebody recorded it and sent it around. And the information is the Chinese doctors understand from autopsies that the behavior of the virus, and the main thing that it does is it obstructs respiratory pathways with a thick mucus that solidifies and blocks the airways and lungs. So when, my daughter was asking the question, why, so if you got this respiratory thing, why aren't you coughing? It's because you can't, because that mucus is so thick that the lungs can't work the way they're supposed to work. In order for medicine to be effective in dealing with the virus, it's got to first clear those pathways. So they have to be opened or unblocked so that the medicine can work. And that process can take several days. So they've made some suggestions of what we can do before we get sick, if we get sick. The first thing is drink lots of liquid. So if you think about that, mucus is really a thick liquid that with this virus gets even thicker. The more we hydrate, the better off we're going to be. So they say, the Chinese doctors say, coffee, teas, soups, warm water, lots and lots. Now, in terms of coffee or caffeinated tea, be smart about this. Don't say, wow, I got a chance to drink a pot of coffee a day, because that's not going to help you. But you can drink coffee. Take a sip of warm water every 20 minutes because it keeps your mouth moist. And the virus actually enters through the nose and the mouth, mostly. And the nose, by the way, the nasal passages come down and go through the back of the mouth before they get down here. And that's where the esophagus is, and there's a trachea is. So the trachea goes to the lungs, the esophagus. So they share the same pathway as they come in through your mouth. So when you get postnasal drip, that's the entry of the sinuses into your mouth. So the virus can be in the mouth, and if your mouth is moist, it will keep that moving to the stomach instead of to the lungs. And the gastric juices will help neutralize it. So sips of water, warm water every 20 minutes. I'll get down to why I'm warm instead of any kind of water a little bit later. You can gargle with an antiseptic throughout the day. And that, you could buy an antiseptic. I haven't done that for so long, I don't even know what to recommend. But you can also use things like vinegar, not straight, you'd be happy to know, lemon or salt. So salt water, lemon water, vinegar water, and do it at least once a day. Also do it anytime where you feel like a sore throat might be coming along, just throat's getting scratchy, gargle. They say that the virus attaches to hair and to clothes. Now, I know that the CDC has definitely said that the virus can survive on fabric for up to 3 days. I haven't been able to confirm the hair piece, whether the virus can survive on the hair. There are certain, the one article that I did find said there's a certain sort of antimicrobial defense that we have on our skin and our hair that might make this not true, but assume it does, because it's just safer to assume it does. And the suggestion is that when you come home after going out, you're gonna love this, take a shower immediately after you get home. So you walk in the door, do not stop, go right to the bathroom, take off your clothes, take a shower, wash your hair, use a soap that either lathers really well or that foams, because part of what kills the virus when you're washing your hands is the friction that you get when you're doing this, or you're doing this and you're getting a lather building up. Part of that was what kills the virus. You should wash those clothes, don't put them back on. If you can't do laundry every day, which if you don't have a washer and dryer, that would make it hard to do, they are saying that you can hang them in warm sunlight. Good luck with the warm here in New England, but in the sunlight, and the sun is supposed to neutralize it. I haven't been able to verify that either, but I would assume that if the virus lives on fabric for 3 to 4 days and you hang your clothes out in the sun for 3 to 4 days, even if it's cold, you're probably doing the job. You want to make sure to wash metallic surfaces really carefully. Metallic, as in metal, like metal doorknobs and metal railings, but also any smooth surface, including some plastics. Or I'm thinking my desk is, polyurethane, nice smooth surface. Virus can live on surfaces like that up to 9 days. So going over those surfaces is with something like you can use Lysol. Although if you have any kind of respiratory or environmental sensitivities, Lysol is not the one to choose. You can also use a bleach wash. Again, if you're having any breathing issues, that's not the one to choose. Peroxide will do it, but you want to wipe everything down, all the surfaces that you touch down. Now, do you have to do that? How often do you have to do that? It depends on how often you're going in and out of your house, or your family members are going in and out of your house. When we do this at the clinic, we're doing it at least every hour, because people are coming in for treatment. We're going in and out to go to the bathroom. So we wash everything down frequently to make sure that the virus is not staying viable on any surfaces there. Smoking of any kind dries out the lungs. And as I said earlier, you've already got a situation where the mucus in the lungs is getting thicker and thicker and sludgier. If you're putting heat into your lungs, which is what smoke is, you're gonna accelerate that. You're gonna make it harder for your body to overcome that thickening. Wash your hands. Now they're saying wash your hands every 20 minutes for 20 seconds. Again, I can say that would be the official word coming out of China. Do I do that at home? No, I live by myself. So I come home and I wash my hands. I make sure that everything's, I've had a once over before I left or as soon as I come home. Use your common sense on that. If you are around other people who may be coming in and out, kids you might want to have wash their hands more often, because it's hard to teach children to keep their hands off their faces. And that's partly how if they pick up a virus from someplace else, that's how they're going to get it. Although little kids, thankfully, are not getting it. They're like statistically low probability that small children will get this virus, so far as we know. Eat fruits and vegetables. Eat warm fruits and vegetables, and elevate your zinc levels, which you can do through zinc lozenges or multivitamins, or through knowing what foods have a high zinc levels, probably nuts and greens, because they're pretty high in just about everything. And also increase your vitamin C levels. You need to be a little careful about that if you are prone to kidney stones. So if you want to increase vitamin C and you're prone to kidney stones, I suggest you do that through your food. The citrus stuff. Citrus foods are high vitamin. So is I think some of the leafy greens like spinach and kale are also high in vitamin C, but you'd need to double check me on that one. Avoid eating and drinking cold things. Now here's where we get down to this. This is a Chinese medicine thing forever. Cold food is harder to digest. If we're already stressed out and we're using our energy to do all of the normal functions, and then we've just added cold food into our stomach, we're expending more energy than we're going to get from our food, for one thing. The stomach operates at about 100 degrees. If you put cold food or water in there, you're going to make it, the stomach has to warm the food up before it can really effectively process it. So it's just harder work. Your stomach has to work harder. And particularly if you end up getting sick, you really don't want to make things hard for your stomach. You want to make it as easy as possible for your stomach to digest the food. So you want to have, learning how not to scratch your nose is hard. You want to have soups. Soups are the best foods we could be eating right now. And isn't it wonderful that it's still winter? Because soups actually really good. The process of cooking a soup starts the digestion for you, and then you don't have to work as hard in order to get the nutrients out of the food. So really, really, I know that ice cream is some people's favorite go-to when they're feeling stressed. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Yogurt or something you might be able to get away with if you let it warm up or you warm it up before you eat it. Warm ice cream just isn't the same, so you might have to really cut back on that until this is over. And then, um, and the other thing that cold does is that it thickens things and slows movement down. So if we're already talking about trying not to thicken up any phlegm that's in your lungs, cold will make it thicker, so you want to avoid that. And then the last thing that they suggest is that if you feel any discomfort in your throat, gargle with antiseptic or the lemon juice or the vinegar juice or the salt. Um, the virus enters this way, as I said, and it can stay alive in the throat. This is kind of gross. You're gonna like this. It can remain in the throat alive for 3 to 4 days, and in the meantime, it's sort of there. You're inhaling it when you're breathing. So that's the 10 things that they suggest um, based on the experiences that have come out of China, which at the moment appears to have passed the peak of this. So they've got some real experience to put behind it. And it's easy, common sense things to do. If you're stuck at home and you got time, you might as well structure some of that stuff into your time, make it part of your routine. It's a bit like all of a sudden we're used to being really busy. Now we're stuck at home, and we gotta structure, fill our time somehow. Add those, um, and then do the other stuff that we've all been talking about for a couple of weeks now. You maintain when you go out, maintain that social distance. You can use wearing a mask going out. That should be the new fashion statement. Masks and surgical gloves should be a new fashion statement. We should all be wearing those. Trouble is getting hold of them. So there's been a lot of stuff going around on the internet about people making their own masks, and I did some research on that. That is not a homemade mask is not the preferred method according to the CDC. They consider it to be a last ditch method or use tool, personal protective equipment if you're a medical provider. But if you're using it at home, it's adequate. You do have to be careful if one of the problems with it is that the fabric can get damp. And once that happens, it apparently makes it easier for the virus to penetrate the mask. Change it out. And the way they used to do it in the old days before they had all of this fancy equipment and antiseptics and all this stuff, the 1918 flu, one of the ways that they got rid of the virus on those face masks was by ironing them. So you can wash it in really hot water, you can dry it on a hot dryer, and you can iron it, and the heat will kill the virus. So you can make those masks. Man, I even saw a really cool video that looked to have come out of an island in the Caribbean. I think the woman who was presenting was speaking Spanish. I didn't understand her, unfortunately, but the video was easy to follow. She made a face mask out of like a half sheet of paper towel, a stapler, and 2 rubber bands. And all she did was accordion fold the paper towel, fold the ends over, around a rubber band, and then staple them. And then she could open it up, loop the rubber bands over her ears, and she had a mask. So you could do that if you want to have a mask and you haven't got one. There is a ton of things that are coming out there that are out onto the internet that are well thought out. Do your fact checking, do it yourself, how to stay healthy. That's a list you can follow. If you want a copy of the list, just give us a call or contact us through Facebook or our email, and we'll send one out to you. And then the other thing that you can do to stay healthy is get in touch with us, see if we can talk to you by phone or get you in to see us in the clinic. Stay well, everybody, and I'll be talking to you soon. I'll keep you up to date on how we're going. Bye-bye.